to, oops, that was a leftover from
TFT
the
2
Six Dragons. They're just breaking everything that we have. No worries though, we're back into the game number 6. And actually, Left Overture, one of our Polish players, was just in chatting. So I'm gonna make a call. I'm gonna say if they do badly here, then that's because they weren't focusing on their games. So hopefully he knows. Hopefully he will do better in the future, but we even have a camera. How lovely.
That was a Wokage board animation, by the way. I have not seen that one before.
I love the turtle. I haven't gotten it yet, though. I'm trying to chase my luck, but, I'm not Selby, so...
Look at the points. I did just look at the standings. I do actually think Snooty needs a first place, as Max was mentioning, to actually have any chance of making it to day 3. So we'll see. I think especially, the playstyle differences in terms of knowing you need to be first place in the lobby and not just top 4 is going to change how a lot of these players are going to think about this early game.
It's Dawnbringers. What do you think of Dawnbringers as like a way of chasing Deja this set, David?
Yeah, I think it's one of the better Mirage traits, the one that performs best, and it's really very easy to build in. You just want to have that extra, damage on your front line, or rather your sustain on the front line, to make sure you're able to get that big heal coming in, get the extra HP maybe on like a Nunu, for example. But overall, Mirage has changed a lot since the last few patches, going more into the guild variants, when guild emblem with the Zibby, for example. So I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played much Mirage in the last few patches. I'm not sure how strong it will be right now.
For me, Mirage is a little bit wishy-washy right now. It's not perfect, it's not horrible either. It's just kind of dependent on where you end up landing at. And right now, Snooty Boo, he's chilling in Madrid. He's having some fun with the Spanish homies over there at the event they're having over there. Just a good little bit of fun. Again, you are from Madrid, you don't live in Spain anymore, right? But could you kind of talk us through the kind of vibe presented at these types of events in general?
The Spanish community overall is just very, very wholesome, where everyone seems to be friends with everyone. There's really, these events kind of happen because everyone puts effort into going to Madrid, into playing for Madrid, knowing that you can play some great TFT, you can focus on the competitive aspect, but also on kind of the personal aspect of, making these friendships grow. And it really is just very wholesome and really great to see. I hope more countries are able to have events like these in the future, because I think it really helps TFT grow from a viewer standpoint. And the Spanish community is so much more invested in TFT in Set 7 compared to the past in Set 6 or Set 5, with players like Revan as well coming in, with big clubs like Koi. So it's a dream to see, but hopefully also the results are able to come through as well, and we get to see a lot of these Spanish players in day 3.
Yeah, for sure. And we just saw our augments go through. 2 of the players are on Tiny Titans. Anything else that speaks to you, Wida?
I mean, it's an interesting one. Double Tiny Titan is always going to be a bit of an interesting one in terms of kind of throwing the entire lobby for a spin. Ixla's Jade Crest for me is super interesting, right? Because that really does allow you to be super flexible in terms of what you want to do. As I was talking about, when you have just a single Jade amplifier, it becomes really easy to splash in 5 Jade alongside your Siphon. So something to look out for.
Ixula also on that Jade Crest, going into that Jade direction. We were talking a little bit about the Mirage variant going into this. I think we're seeing a lot of Mirage Guild, Panda. Would you, in a game like this, actually chase that Mirage, or would you be very open to, let's say, a Jade variant?
I think you can stay open to it, especially in your level 7 roll down on 4-1. If you're able to find a Deja or 2, or you think there's no one else going Mirage and you have Deja uncontested, I think it's one of the better units to stabilize with, especially now that other dragons are being considered, like Shioyu and Siphon in Ultimate Stage 4. Deja might be a bit more open, and if you're able to get a Deja 2, that's a way to for sure stabilize, to then go into maybe a full dragon board and a fast 9.
Yeah, we're just getting word that Namzi in this game is not a mage. Could be Evoker, could be Cannoneer. We're figuring it out for you. But what would you prefer, Rita? Cannoneer or Evoker? I know both aren't ideal to go for a Namzi, but if you get to choose, let's say you're Morgan.
I mean, it's Cannoneer, so I don't even want to waste space talking about the Evoker aspect of it, right? We're seeing so much Cannoneer right now, and it's not really worth pursuing because of the fact how Darkflight has changed into being the Rengar-centric comp more so than the Aphelios vertical Cannoneer burst comp instead, right? So let's tell you what X2 has on the board right now. Has slammed an IE already. That's interesting as well. Has another glove on top of that, right? So different angles approachable here right now, and a lot of that is going to come down to what they're going to choose off of the carousel that's going to come after this round.
Yeah, for sure. One more round to go. We see Left Overture going to 5, trying to preserve that win streak that he currently has. Would very much like to keep that going, get some more extra gold, especially like you were saying, Rita, with those 2 Tiny Titans players. You just want to make the most of it and try to stay up there.
Absolutely, indeed. Here, Ragnar. One of them currently on the screen right now, I do believe. No, I am not right. That is Vecca on board right now. Does have that Laguna bonus. 27 out of 35 is pretty decent compared to the fact that we are only 3 rounds in of that habit being active, pretty much, right? So, for like the stage 2 carousel here is always an interesting one because it's about someone like a Rod that has double sword, double bow for Aki, right? Like, you really need to figure out like where you want to take this type of direction now. Like this component right here is super important.
Tula ends up picking up that Olaf with tier. Olaf could be a way into Scalescorn a little bit later than 2-1, but still viable. But with a tier, not so much the case. You can still build Hodge, of course, but we might still see a Scalescorn player. If no one's going for Olaf, one player might decide, hey, this is uncontested. This might be a viable way to get a top 4 if that's all they need to make it into day 3.
Actually, we are seeing the overlay by blitz.gg. Thank you so much for that. And hopping on over to Overture Sport, we are seeing the Astral Warrior combination being in there right now. Wukong as a little carry for the moment. Some Jade now being slotted in as well. And Overture is keeping the playing field open. Can still go into a lot of things here.
We've kind of seen Wukong 2 especially, be like he's incredibly solid item holder in the early game as a unit that can kind of take you through stage 2 unscathed, and that trend is kind of continuing right now. Like even a Rod as well, another player who's still at 100 HP, also has a Wukong 2.
You know what we have yet to see, you guys? I'm still waiting for the Swiftshot Yone. We have seen Swiftshot emblems, but somehow they're not ending up on a Yone. And I would really like to see that happen, Panda.
We'll wish for it, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen for this sport, at least for Overture. One thing that is happening is Thrill the Hunt. So strong in stage 2, almost going to guarantee the win streak here, especially with these items that have been slammed, the Wukong 2, as Guido was mentioning. Overall, though, I'm a little bit worried because I'm seeing a lot of these early game boards that seem to be in the direction of the Xiaoyu Siphon comp we've been seeing so much of today. Not everyone can play this comp. Not everyone can find the 2-star dragons when they go level 8 on stage 4. So we're going to see who ends up deciding to go this. We're seeing a lot of Jade openers overall, so a little bit worried that all these players decide to go for the same comp, or at least maybe half of the players, and that might be problematic for many of them.
Yeah, and 2 players are still streaking on 100 HP. Overture and Exula trying to get out here, trying to keep that streak alive. Exula going to level 6. I don't think Overture went to level 6, but they're not meeting anyway, so they could still preserve that win streak into 2-7, which would be amazing for them.
Absolutely. Like, getting a full streak through on this stage is absolutely critical for the continuing of the game, especially when you have players that are like Snooty and Aki who are just, able to sacrifice HP for economic gain so easily, and especially also these players are not running any econ traits, right? Like, look at Exula Sport here, has the very heavy investment into maintaining the streak as well, like we saw from Lalana in the previous game. And again, hopefully it goes better for Exula than for Lalana, right? Like, you just have to be able to figure out a way for you to stay in the game.
And Exula has the Olaf, but just from the way he's already itemizing the Olaf, the way the positioning is happening there, it's very clear he's not trying to play a Scalescorn game. It's just a temporary item holder like Wukong was in the previous board, and just going to be, we're seeing here as well, if you're playing for Olaf, in any case, you would sacrifice him. Oh, okay, never mind, he is going to do it. Going to keep his options open at the very least, with the Olaf dying off to the Krugs on the left side. But overall, with the Jade Emblem especially, I think it's very clear that it won't be an Olaf carry. For the most part, the Olaf will be sold off the moment these items can be transferred onto a Xiaoyu or a Siphon.
You ever spoke about like how good Hand of Justice is? Oh baby, let's go on a Xiaoyu, right? So the transfer you were talking about, David, it might come through right now.
A little bit earlier than I anticipated.
Exula's reaction, I'm sorry, but that was so lovely. He was just
Jace as well. Oh goodness, my oh my.
Let's go. Exula being served by Mortok. personally in this game here, finding what he was looking for. Really, really nice to see that come out, and his reaction was just on point. I hope somebody's clipping that. But with that, Xula and Leftoverture still on that 100 HP win streak, getting that juicy gold. I do want to check in with Lakoko, because Lakoko is currently on a losing streak trajectory. I want to see what's going on there.
Look at this board from Snooty, David. Is this like, you know, like systematic for Snooty to go for these type of openers, or is this like a situation of this game specifically?
I think it's specific to this game. It's not a board that I would consider very strong. He had to Titans, of course, so not going to have any combat strength from the augment, maybe opting to have that loose streak for now. And then once he gets maybe a few more natural shops in stage 3, that can give him a little bit more direction since the augment hasn't done so yet. Or maybe this next augment is going to be the one to say, hey, play this, play that, try and find this direction, especially once you're able to scout and see what other players are playing and try and go maybe a different direction.
Ooh, we are on Lakoko's board, and I did ask for that, but now I am scared. Second augment coming in, silver augments. Panda, I know you love that. Low impact, not game defining for the most part. And he does find a Lux too to slot in with these Astrals here, but 6 losses not looking too strong.
Finds the future sight as well. Recently downgraded to silver, which is obviously going to be a buff for this augment. Zephyr in this stage 3. Going to be a lot more work for Lakoko, but when you're in a position where you're trying to qualify for day 3, you're ready to do whatever it takes to get any slight edge, and that will be the case here. Trying to lift up things like maybe Xula, Shio-Yu into the air, the main damage carries, to kind of stall out that damage as much as possible.
Yeah, man, you're on a 6 loss streak right now. Your board is not exactly fantastic. Future Sight is not something that is going to give you a lot of direction where you want to go. That is a featherweight from Leftoverture as well, though. That's interesting in terms of like trying to stay on these lower levels for now.
Rita, is it time for Gnar reroll?
Oh, I'd love that.
All right.
I love that. I want to see the Beastie Boy.
Makes is on board. I think Rita is not convinced.
I mean, I love
silver
Gnar
featherweights can do it.
I mean, I love Gnar reroll to a certain extent, right? Like, we've seen the absolute power of it. I remember, like, Max and I was hanging out in Brewer's stream the other day, and, like, he had a pretty interesting Gnar free going on. It's like,
he did not die. I remember that vividly.
So there are
also doing its thing here.
Yeah, there are options, right? Like, again, and this could also just be a way of you getting through the early game, right? Because, like, again, it's only a silver augment you will be missing when you are going to be approaching that later stage of the game. So we're really just going to see how that is going to pan out.
It looks like Lakoko lining up for a 3-5 level 7 after this carousel. Going to maybe roll a bit to try and find something to stabilize with, because he's currently sitting at 60 HP on the projection for possibly an 8 loss streak to start things off. Knife's Edge as the augment pickup as well means that maybe he's also leading into this Jade Whispers tree, which is, again, worrying. It seems like every board we're seeing here has some variant of Jade online.
It's again, like, Jade is coming back into the early game like this right now, where it's just one of those things where you can just very easily flex it in now. And again, you have a way out of it as well, quite naturally, due to the fact that Shio-Yu is actually playable right now.
Yeah, she is playable, and I think after first game, Vida, you and I were talking about it, and I was asking you, how do you feel about Shio-Yu? Because she was not doing as great in the game that we saw. You were like, nah, it's still a very, very good comp, and that has been proving in the last couple of games. Waga now actually finding streak here going on fire in the top 4, whereas Leftoverture has fallen a little bit off. Xula is still going strong after what we saw happen early with the pickups. There is a Nyla with a Spat that's going to get picked up by Snooty here.
Snooty also has an open glove. This could technically be a Lagoon Spat as well as a Frey Nyla for Snooty, if that's an angle he has transitioned into.
He did pick up Blue Battery as his second augment, so definitely could be leaning into Lagoon, could be leaning into Psalm. We talked about Blue Battery working so well with Psalm all throughout today, and yesterday as well. Many players finding success, and there it is. Snooty has the Morello already built on the Psalm. Blue Battery, of course, you don't need the 2 tiers, so you kind of get yourself out of that weird conundrum where if you don't find 2 tiers, all of a sudden you're that much weaker, you're not able to hit that high cap Psalm board. In this case, the game already gives you that done, and you're able to just build damage items instead.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can hop on over to a rock because we're just kind of staring at it, trying to see what is going on there on this board. There is a Nomsy, I believe, and we will meet him here on the enemy board. It's Cannoneer Nomsy for this moment. Graves already with 2 items. Super, super nice position to be in.
I guess that's the angle that I couldn't read for a second, right? The Graves, look at that, just get absolutely blown to pieces, right? So I don't think that's going to be indicative of the strength of the board that Arad is positioning for right now, but the position of Snooty is right now. Level 7 has the Soam with a Morello already going on with the Knight. Like, he has both of his carries already on his board by 3-5, which is pretty unheard of considering the fact he is playing Lagoons.
Keeping the spat open as well could definitely be a mage spat still if you want to go into the angle of 5 mages, put on the Zyra that we've seen so many times in this tournament already. I like just waiting those 2 more rounds, see what components you get from the Wolves PvE round, and then making more important decisions, especially because you still are fairly healthy at 74 HP.
Lekoko just dethroned Xula. Xula was win streaking from the start, 100 HP. Now finding a loss against Lekoko, who has been lose streaking. So the turntables are tabling. It is time to actually build out these sports, and we are seeing the economy overlay by Blitz.gg come in here. Most of the players doing really good on Gold Wagon, notably on 71. And then we have Lekoko and some others a little
that was quite the roll down.
Okay.
He's level 7, it's 3-6, and he has a Terra, a 2-star Idus, and the Deja. He still has 31 gold left over. Okay, what just happened here?
We were saying he needed to roll down on 7. He needed to find some upgrades. I'm not sure how he's able to completely flip his board in this way, considering he still has 30 gold left over and only going to get more from the Shimmer skill online as well. So a great spot to be in. Usually players are trying to make the transition with 30 HP, but 50 HP is a little bit better as well for Coco. So definitely a player aiming for a top 4 here.
That's where you would like to have the question mark ping and TFT, right? Like,
I mean,
very justified.
What is going on?
I think at this point, and with Xula early on to show you, those are 2 very justified question mark pings today.
Maybe we can add that in post, right? But for now, it will be some extra augments. Finds a Siphon as well. Lekoko has jumped on the dragon train, and it's zooming across this lobby for now.
Gets a lot of gold as well to kind of refill the coffers, right? That's going to be pretty big here. The itemization options not necessarily fantastic, but okay, Vega, you're not playing Clouded Mind, but you're still at 95 gold. And look at the value on the bench as well.
This game
is wild when it comes to economy. It's a double silver opening.
Silver augments. How is this happening?
Every player is trying to one-up the other. We're moving on a new board. It's like, okay, I'm going to one-up this other player now. All of a sudden, we go to this board. Deja 2 online as well. Stoneplate, Mogul Mail on the Idus. Only Idus 1, but still, this Deja is looking mighty strong with the Shojin possibly slammed as well. And uplink.
It's worth noting here, right? This is going to be an angling towards the 4 Dragon board, I do believe, right? Because, again, there's a Spear of Shojin here. Morello and the Deja. I think that's going to be the case. Again, Shojin going over something in Aoshin towards the later stage of the game. Obviously, right now, they're just trying to be as strong as possible here. This Graves 2 has been hit from a rat, and with the power of the Filter Hunt here, it might be enough to see him through.
Yeah, we're gonna see if it can actually work. The Deja, of course, is still looking pretty strong, and she just slices across that Graves and takes him out. Now onto the Nomsy, but I don't think that will be a problem for her. She's gonna take him out before she can get another ult off. So I was looking at Arat earlier, and I was thinking, yeah, this board is going to be strong, but now we've seen all the other boards, and I might want to take that back. 3rd augments coming in here, golden ones.
Jewel Lotus, Fort Stable.
It's a possibility. I have to see. There's no chance for an IE, it looks like, on the components or on any of the current components right now on the board for it. But you still have a chance to make it to that point, and it still is, as you mentioned.
Sorry, what?
4th item.
125 gold, Wega?
I mean, he can almost just he's close to just being able to go straight 9. This could be when people speak about a fast 9, this is a fast 9, okay? This is the fastest 9 in
he could go instantly.
Instantly. If you really wanted to, right?
Overture also hit that show you too.
He doesn't want to, but he could. Wega does hold that power currently, and just the knowledge of that alone is intimidating to me for all of those other players.
The Shiyu 2 with 2 items as well for Overture. Some great combat augments as well. Thrill of the Hunt, Knife Size is going to be fantastic for this comp. Maybe Overture now has hit a spike. It's going to be strong enough to face off against some of these Dragon boards, at least throughout this stage 4. It looks like the Siphon has one more bite in him, but Deja has other plans, and that will be another win for Wega. A player that in this kind of 1st or 8th place that some of these players need, they are really rising up to the occasion. This is some crazy high roll lobby, despite, as you're mentioning, Wida, a silver augment start.
Yeah, I think it also kind of down to the ramifications of this lobby, right? They need to go first to probably have a chance of making it through here. And it's our favorite combination making its return. It's Zephyr and it is the Blitzcrank hook off the Rocket Propel Fist. This is going to be another little fun positioning mini game coming all the way through the rest of the game.
Okay, notably, right? Lekoko also has Future Sight Augment, which gave him that Zephyr. So he always knows where he's going. He just has to kind of make sure the enemies don't know that he's currently spying, which has been made a little bit harder by the recent patch. But 4 dragons already on the board and going strong. 7 gold to work with, not much, nothing you could compare to Wega's just, you know, sheer richdom. But it is strong enough in power to face off here, and I think he might actually take a loss here if he isn't careful. The Deja has ramped up, and Lekoko taking a loss. Finds Asol, though.
Yay, Asol, right, Mix?
Nope.
Immediately shut down.
All right,
Not even giving you a chance to make a joke there, Wida.
This carousel there, right? Like, there's a bard with a tier just being left up for now. Like, is there anything that's surprising to you, like being left up?
Nah, not so much. I mean, bard obviously for its value, but really, players are maybe hoping to just get those full items on their main dragon carries for now. The 3rd item especially is going to be the big case here. So we're going to see what these items end up building to these components. Most players have slam most players' items, as we know. Stage 4, you can't be losing too much HP. We're going to see now Xula, as we saw Overture as well, both on the Shiyu carries. Both have 2-star Shiyu already. I'm not sure if there's a 3rd player going for this comp. If they are, they're going to have a lot of trouble trying to 2-star their dragons.
Xula not wanting to go 8 here is a little bit weird to me, right? So like a general rule of thumb is that if you can level and still have 30 gold left in the bank, you are kind of just not really losing money, right? Because you're getting that back. He's doing it last second to try to cheese the fight. Okay, this makes a lot more sense then my point is kind of obsolete.
Beastin as well as 3rd augment, fantastic. I talked about it yesterday as well, but just a really, really good augment for what it's able to offer, especially if you're playing shapeshifters naturally like you are here with the Gnar and the Jace.
Yeah, we're gonna see where this is going for Xula now. If you weren't here at the beginning of this round, we are in the final round of today. Half of these players will go home. We can't take them to day number 3. And everybody in this lobby really needs to get 1st or maybe even 2nd to go on through to that cutoff. Xula has been served for all of this game. He found the Shiyu super early on, followed by a Jace. You can see it by his reaction. Now also the Soraka coming in. 9 Jade online, Wida.
9 Jade indeed, right? And with the Jade emblem, this is kind of fun things I was talking about, right? When you have the Jade open with the emblem, and you can just like do some fun things. And it's right. He's not even looking at like the siphon angles and stuff like that right now. He's just trying to play full on Jade tempo. Oh, look at the Tour de France! It's like it's just running a marathon.
The Shiyu knows exactly where it has to go, trying to snipe off Overture Shiyu before it can deal more damage. This 1v1 might be deciding the fight, might be deciding who ends up winning it. It looks like it will be Xula Shiyu in the end, despite the combat augments coming in for Overture. 9 Jade is just so powerful when it comes to attack speed and the life steal as well.
We will go into the Treasure Dragon, and it could be Chaos, or it could be Order. So Order coming through here. Wega still super rich, but we'll probably hit level 9 after this. Just look at the overall gold here. 92 for Wega in the bank, where other players are on single digits. He is so rich right now.
CFS as well, David, right? Like you're talking about this year.
Perfect combination with the augment that was picked up, the Jeweled Lotus. You don't have the remover for the Deja, but I think the Deja knows that its time is limited. Aoshin and Asol both found in the shop. That would be the cap. That would be, hitting one of the 5-cost AP dragons, getting this Zenith Blade online, the Shojin, the Morello as well, and overall going to have such a strong board for Wega and so much gold to work with still. We're seeing here with the roll down.
Just, Asol too casually being hit here by Wega, not even, making a fuss about it. Just gonna quickly recraft, gonna make sure we find that Asol, slapping it in. 3 items together with the Shimmer Scale. Lovely.
And something I actually want to highlight here, right? We saw Vega skip a Hecarim 2 twice here, and this is something that I kind of dislike with certain players and their playstyles, is that sometimes they will just straight up make themselves too dizzy on these roll downs by holding things that they're not open to, right? Like, to me, it's a clear indicator that when you are like skipping Hecarim 2 twice, that you are not interested in it, so you should probably just, give it up.
The damage
he was
coming
just
out of this
holding it
Asol
to hit units, no? Like, he sold it off in this round here. Just trying to find, I think, maybe some tier 4 unit. I'm not really sure what he was looking for, but I don't think it was the Hecarim after all that he was trying to target. Now we're seeing more dragons come through, because why not? 4 dragons on the board of Wega. We're going to hop on over to Snooty, because there are other players in this lobby as well. Zipper at 6 HP. Next round might be the very last one. 2 dragons, they're not upgraded. There is a Yasuo not upgraded. We can't really work with anything here. The Nyla is on 2. There's 2 more on the bench with the preparation, but I don't think this board will see any light against Lakoko.
Level 7, Nyla up in the air. I mean, the contrast from Wega's board to this is just night and day. And Zipper, I'm sorry, but I think this is almost going to be a guaranteed 8th place here. Was not able to keep up with the pace of this lobby that just somehow spiraled completely out of control coming into stage 4.
Also, Ratna down at 6 HP, right? This Graves 2 has not been enough to pull him through. Snooty Boo's Zone 2 board has also not really been impactful enough. When you look at the boards here for Arat, he's just chilling casually on like a close to like a vertical Tempest angle, right? But like, he has an Aoshin 2 on the board, but with no mana gain for it, it's going to be quite hard for him to really get this thing online.
Yeah, I think you're probably looking for the Graves to do some of the chomping together with that Thrill of the Hunt. You just hope that Aoshin can somehow get at least 1 cast off. We're going to see where Arat will go. 6 HP could be his very last round, and it's Xula that's facing off against him with the Jade 9 comp. So maybe, just maybe, that Aoshin can see some light against the Shio. You are going to really look closely at the mana buff from the Aoshin and the great HP bar, who needs to try and stay alive. In comes the lightning rain, but can it do enough damage? It does not take out the Shio. It does not take out the Jace that's right in front of it, but the Grace finishes the job, and Arat is actually able to live for 1 more round.
And Graves dealing damage, but also able to stall out the fight there with the Titan Resolve, the extra armor coming through, allowing the Graves to almost 1v1 against Shou for quite a long time, allowing the second Aoshin cast despite not having mana generation available, and despite the Mystic being there for the Shou board as well.
Absolutely, a lot of options here. These carousels can always be kind of hit or miss, right, when you start having the emblems in the pool, because like sometimes when you're the last pick, you just get left with like a random Cannoneer emblem and like nothing else at times, right? Depending on like how dire the situation is. At least here, Vega can at least grab that death cap, and Vega is sat on like 90 gold right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's a very similar situation. Sure. No, sure. Hit that bar too. Nice, lovely. More mark dogging for Vega.
Asol 3?
No. Please, no, don't do this to me. Don't go for Asol 3. I'm going to cry.
So one thing that's worth noting here, right?
Can you actually do it, though?
I will leave yourself to cry right now. Because something that we need to talk about, right, Max, is that, yes, Vega is seeing a lot of gold, but he needs to sit on this gold for combat power due to the Gold Mancer's staff currently being equipped as the main damage item for this Asol right now. And like, when it hits the crit with the Dual Lotus and the Zenith Edge combination, look at that, it just blows the entire thing up. The only thing it's lacking is any sort of sustain. And this Saya has been doing a lot of work, but it's not going to be enough. It seems like there's the secondary damage. Carry is dead. Okay.
Dies of Yasuo.
Dies of Yasuo as Aki does stay alive for one more round. Same thing cannot be said for Arad. Now the biggest question of them all. Snooty Boo, where are you?
1 HP! This is the top 10 anime plot turnarounds. 1 HP on Snooty Boo. Panda, I know you're begging, praying, crying for him to go through here, but he needs to find some upgrade on the Nyla. Hopefully doesn't have any gold to work with. Does have a cloak that he could technically slam, but what are you going to do with one cloak? A cloak does not win you a battle, and he will go into the battle, maybe even against Weka.
I think there's no chance here. There's some players in this lobby that are playing on a whole different level. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Snooty Boo is playing a normal comp in a normal game of TFT. Wega and other Dragon board players are just on a completely different spectrum in this case, and that's going to be the case here. Song goes up in the air as well, so bad news for Snooty to start things off. The damage stalled out from the main damage carrying that backline. Deja still doing its thing, picking off targets left and right, now focusing the middle clump. Psalm's still alive, but Siphon is onto the Psalm now, and the entirety of the team is now as well. So Snooty, unfortunately, will get knocked out in 6th place, will not advance to day 3 of GSC number 3. And yeah, it's very unfortunate. I talked about it. He's my Socialite Spotlight, a player that I hope to see in day 3, but just not a great day at TFT for him.
I mean, my Socialite Spotlight is looking quite hot right now, right? Like,
yeah, we're seeing one player after the other go down to 1 HP. I'm not sure what is in the waters of that turtle, but something's definitely going on here. We're now on Leftoverture's board. One of our Polish players coming through here. He does have the Jade Siphon comp online. Would very much like another Siphon to make that Siphon 2 complete. Still has some gold to work with and will most likely roll here after this round is over to try and hold on, try and get another win. How are we feeling about that Trojan, Rita?
Not ideal, I think. Like, okay, that's the Siphon 2 at least, right? You can see him kind of light up here because it actually is going to be somewhat important. His only addition to the board outside that is going to be a Talia 1. I guess that's used for the Trojan. It's not, obviously, it has the Reforger. So it's going to use the Gunblade instead. Any little bit of healing is going to help. I suppose that's going to be how you're going to have to look at it, right? The Leftover could get something like Aki right now, right? And that could be enough for him to stay alive. He's going to top 4 for that personal stat padding, but Vega has hit himself a Shyvana 2 and a Zephyr here landing fantastically from Aki due to the fact that future sight.
Yeah, so the Shio goes into the air. It could be the end for either Aki or Leftoverture as they fight it off here. There is a Shyvana in the backline, and I don't think there's going to be light for Leftoverture. Dies of cringe as the cutscene comes in. He's gonna find an end here in 5th place, unfortunately, and Aki makes it into the top 4.
He does indeed here. Now it's a battle between Ixula and Lakoko, 2 of the players here that are probably looking to try to contest for Veka's spot at the top. And it's going to be Lakoko taking it out here. A player that had a lot of gold on the neutral stages here is probably invested it by now, so interesting to see where this goes.
Top 4 guaranteed for these players, but that is not the good news that it usually is in most lobbies of TFT. Most of these players are sitting around the 20-point threshold in the standings right now. To make it to day 3, we're used to seeing 26, 27, 28 points, which means you need to be getting a 1st or a 2nd in this game to have a chance to advance, maybe go off on tiebreakers, which means that for Aki, 4th place is not enough. He needs to fight for 1st or 2nd.
Yeah, we're gonna go in here. Aki and Lakoko are meeting. Eyes on the Zephyr and the grab hand. The Jace is being thrown in. Misses the Zaya in the backline. She can start ramping up, and we can see those Rage Blade stacks just rising in there. But the Deja on the other side of the board, she has looked out for the Zaya. The Siphon has bit her in half, and I don't think there's any coming back for Aki from this as Lakoko finds another win. Aki and Ixula are both getting knocked out, and we're down to our top 2.
The absolute state of the fact that 2 future sight players play each other and they end up like severing each other's Zephyr units. That was chef's kiss. Actually, that was so clean. And like, there's a little bit more systematic system to it for Lakoko, obviously due to the fact he was trying to land a Blitzcrank hook, but it was just kind of good content here. And now Vega has to balance staying above the gold threshold for the Goldmancer staff, as well as trying to find that Aurelion Sol free, which looks to be his win condition after all.
Wega also is on a second bar too, probably looking for a bar 3, which would be crazy to see. I don't think Likoko will get knocked out here if he should so lose. So this game is just a little bit of testing the waters between these two dragon giants, behemoths, just fighting it off here. And it looks like Likoko can actually see light against Wega Sport. So Wega is on level 9, so is Likoko. Both of them capped out on gold. We can still work with a lot here.
It was a big chomp from Siphon, killing off that Acel before it could do too much damage. Won the fight there for Likoko. And Wega now has to decide, is it time to roll down this gold? Is it worth it? Can I hit an Acel 3? Is that my win condition? What do you think, Wida? Is it just the correct play to stay on 80 for that extra value from the Goldmaster staff? Or at some point you have to commit this gold and try and actually find a different win con?
So the issue here right now is that the strongest board right now is the one presented by Likoko, right? So for Wega, he needs to hit his big spikes. So that could be something like an Aeoshin 2 is a pretty massive spike. Granted, it doesn't get hooked by the Blitzcrank yet again. That is the thing about this, right? He has some pretty specific spots where he can put his units on the board, right, to get the extra bonuses from the Terror. He's not playing Terror anymore, right? So that he's not confined to those positioning spots, which could help him out in terms of trying to ensure these carries are not going to get hooked here. Maybe this Aeoshin spike is good enough.
Yeah, let's see where the hook goes, and goes on to the Asian, just completely getting knocked in there. There is another dragon in the backline trying to get in there. The Asian will pour some lightning rain onto the other board, and it will be enough for Wega, as the Acel was just sacrificed as a test lamp into this rocket grab. He did find a win con here, and I really want to see, to be honest, that bar 3 coming out of Wega. He is only 2 copies, 1 copy short of the bar. And at this point, do you just send it? Do you just roll down until you can find it? Because I absolutely would.
Don't fall for the bait. He's going too far.
It's worth noting he doesn't have to commit to this fully because of the fact that like he's still very healthy and he has like they're entering a neutral round.
There's 2 more rounds to work with.
The end for Likoko if Likoko loses. So both of the dragons this time alive in the background. Acel and Aoshin hand in hand gonna get some casts out here. The Deja can barely do any damage against him as the lightning rain crashes onto the field, and it's just so much damage that Likoko is facing one more time. It's gonna get annihilated, and that is a win for Wega in our last round of the day.
The moment makes said she hates seeing Acel. We have literally only seen Acel win every single